Welcome to the favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. I am Chad Millman of the Action Network. I am live from my Tommy John home studio, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Happy
I'm
Halloween, Chad.
I'm so scared. I don't know if I'm more scared of the decisions we have to make today, what our big balls bet of the week is going to be, what our foxhole is going to be. That I stayed up so late watching the Dodgers Yankees last night that I was live betting the Bulls when they were 20 down and won my bet because I have so much confidence in this team. What are you scared of? Why am I screaming?
I'm scared that, we're about to bet on some ugly home dogs. But you know what, Chad? I have confidence. I have confidence in our bets, just like the Los Angeles Dodgers had confidence last night. Thank God for the Dodgers, Chad. I can't handle a Yankees World Series right now. And I'm not bitter because of '09, maybe a little bit. But it's really because I'm just surrounded by Yankee fans. I can't stand Yankee fans.
I should mention to people who are listening, Simon is not going to sound like this the whole time. For those who are watching on video, which I always suggest you do, watching the Action Network app or Action Network's YouTube page, Simon is wearing a Scream mask in honor of Halloween. He's taking it off, folks. It's not going to be like that for the entire show. Today is our NFL Week 9 Best Bets episode. Simon and I will narrow down our five picks in the favorites $100,000 pro football pick'em contest presented by Bet365. Sign up now, favorites.actionnetwork.com. We'll get into the foxhole. We'll give out our Tommy John Big Balls bet of the week. We're going to discuss Simon's biggest bets. We're going to discuss our boosted money line underdog parlay, which you can get at Bet365. We'll talk about the underdog round robin and so much more. Bets are rolling in, lines are moving, decisions need to be made. As our volume podcast boss, Colin Coward likes to say, there's a sea of money out there. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now, new Bet365 customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code favorites, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. As always, on Thursdays during the season, we like to hear how the wise guys are responding to our Tuesday conversation. That's how influential we are. The lines move based on our conversations, and the pros feel compelled to weigh in on our opinions. Simon, let's do sharp calls.
Yeah, let's start for a game that me and Chad probably aren't going to talk about today, so we'll just get out of the way. People know the professionals love the Jets. I don't get it. Chad doesn't get it. Apparently, the trends do point to it, though. After reading Evan's article, it's like, okay, I can see why they like this spot. There are some nice spots here to take this Jets team. Historically, this is a good spot to take them. I just don't think we've seen something like this historically with this team. And I know that their record doesn't reflect who they are because of how bad their kicker has been. And they look like they listened to us last week, Chad, or I should say on Tuesday. They got rid of their kicker finally. I think it's a little too late. I know Houston has a ton of injuries. This got up to 2.5 at one point. I don't know if you saw Houston get up to 2.5. I had to take a piece of it once it got up to 2.5. Now it's back down to 1.5. So if you want to bet with the professionals tonight, they're not always right, but they do like the Jets. But I am going to go against them on the Houston side. All right, let's get to the other games that actually matter. Off the top, me and Chad talked about Tuesday. Both liked it. Weren't really sure what to do with it, though, just because the number had moved so much. It's now down to 1.5 for Cleveland. I don't know where you're at with this Cleveland team. I get why these guys are coming from. My whole pushback to them was, you guys are all talking as if you're not the ones that got this at 3 and 2.5. Now me and Chad are coming in for the scraps at 1.5 if we like the Browns. That was my only pushback. I get why the professionals love the Browns here. They love the number. They think they're going to win outright. Totally get it. Their season's turned around. Chad, we'll go into, I guess, more, but you nailed it when you said it's the Winston effect, though. That's my hesitation here. Another game me and you both love. The professionals are against us on Miami Dolphins, but
Wow.
yeah, I know there's some strong Dolphin money coming in. I just think they're betting it wrong, Chad. I just think they're betting it wrong. I really do. So I haven't changed my position on that. Still like the Bills. Still think that's a good spot for us, but shocked to find out that a lot of professionals like that other side. For games we love, that the pros love, Green Bay, no brainer. That's one we'll dive way more into.
Yep.
Professionals love that. I still think it's going to go down to 3. A couple books have already gone to 3. Get the 3.5 while you still can. I just think professional money, once Jordan Love is given the all good to go today or tomorrow, this line will drop to 3. Again, we haven't talked much about that. Maybe we will more today. Giants, the professionals actually liked Washington. It's a little split. It's not as clear cut as I thought it was going to be. It's
Interesting.
yeah, I think it's something we talked about where this Giants team is just bad. We've talked this year about these bad teams and how bad they are. Daniel Jones still hasn't thrown a touchdown at home. It is week 9. So
I'm glad to hear this. We're gonna let's get to the next one, because
we'll get into that more.
Because I like, the more research I did, the less I liked your opinion about the Giants. So
I know I'm a sucker. I love the Giants. A game we both like. I don't think we're gonna put in our contest though. Tampa. I've heard some really smart groups have come in on Tampa. To me, that's a bet me and Chad always make, just because it's a huge number against the Chiefs. I don't think there's anything sharp about it, though. I can't get a good read on it. I got no interest putting this one in. Another one that maybe we'll talk a little bit about. Just as, again, we're on opposite sides of it. Professionals like the Ravens. I like Denver. Maybe you want to dive into that one more, but I think we're not missing the mark here, that we're just playing the number because it's such a big number, and it's that Ravens defense. Their view of it is this Ravens team is going to roll this Denver team, that they're better. All of it. They believe in all of this Ravens hype, and especially even after reading Evan's article, there's trends say take the 9 here with this Denver team. Not only is Sean Payton great as a big dog here, we talked about Lamar struggles, especially when it's above 3.5. He's just a different quarterback. They usually play down to their competition levels. So yeah, a lot to dive into, Chad. Pretty split this week between us and the professionals.
well, that's interesting, and they touched on all the games and sort of the challenges I was having as I dug in deeper the past 48 hours, as I try to reimagine how we're framing our arguments here. Last week, week 8, public 9-6. Week before, 10-4. Week before that, 10-3-1. So after 5 weeks of getting crushed to the tune of the worst start in 20 years for the public, they are now dominating the past 3 weeks. So, we like to fade the public. It's gone okay for us in certain spots. Let's see how it rolls this week. First game up, Denver plus 9.5 at Baltimore. As I go through this, the reasons to back Denver: their defense is fierce, amongst the league leaders in pressure rate, first in yards per attempt passing, tied for 4th in yards per carry. All great pressure points against a Lamar Jackson who is very efficient in the pocket in a Derrick Henry-led run game. Baltimore, terrible in the second half. That bodes well if you want to bet a dog at a big number. They're now giving up more than 17 points per game in the second half, worst in the NFL. We know Bo Nix and the Broncos will be slinging it no matter how late in the game and what the score is. And we know, as you mentioned, Lamar is a favorite, big number, 29-35 in his career, 45% against the spread. I'm saying big number, 3 or more. The reason we don't like Denver: easy schedule. Bo Nix is a wild card who can just as easily throw at least one pick six to destroy the calculus. Denver's good against the blitz. Lamar is the best in the NFL against the blitz. And there is the sentiment that the Ravens are like 2 or 3 mistakes cleaned up from figuring it out and destroying this team. And that's what I worry about. They gotta, that was a cheap backdoor cover the Commanders had against the Ravens a few weeks ago. If you got the 7.5, the Ravens won by 7 because they gave up some, a PI that put the Commanders in field goal range. I could see that being the case here too. Like I'm so split on this game. I do not want to put it in the contest. I do not feel strongly about it.
Yeah, I think it's just because of Bo Nix that we're both a little weary. Even though
Yeah.
he is what 3-0 or 4-0 on the road this season, Evan. He's something, yeah, 4-0. So I mean, we can't knock it. The guys performed really well on the road, and this team has as well. So maybe our skepticism isn't warranted, but it's just a numbers thing, right? I don't get why this number is so large, and the books tend to know what they're doing when they set numbers like this. But man, this is a tough one to pass on. Luckily, we have other games we like more, but I'm gonna bet it. It's like the hot stove thing. I got to touch it to make sure it's hot. That's what I'm doing here with this Denver team. It's like I know we shouldn't do it, but I kind of have to do it just because I'm so skeptical of this secondary for this Ravens team. And people out there, you don't need to take this one. You can wait and do in-game bets. Chad just laid it out for you how you should bet this, right? You should attack Denver in the second half. So, if they're down 10-0 at a halftime or 14-3, maybe you'll get a better number and you can just take them to cover the second half. Like that probably is the play for this contest, though, for what we do here. If I'm just going to take the number straight from the get-go, I'm going to go against the professionals here. I'll take Denver in this big number. It's just, to me, it's too big. If this was 7.5, maybe 7, I could come around this Ravens team. The fact that it's crossed 7.5 key number, 8.5 key number, and still at 9, I'll be the Joe Public sucker. I'll take the 9.
Well, look, the Ravens in the first half has been sort of the sharp play this week. If you read anything on Action Network, if you listen to Stuckey and Raybon on the Action Network podcast in their Sunday six pack, Stuckey chose the Ravens first half. A couple other stories on Action Network. They liked the Ravens first half. Evan probably has a ton of stats. I don't know if he'll do it in his segment later about the Ravens in first half. If not, Ev, you can throw it in the chat and we'll bring them up here. But the Ravens in the first half with Harbaugh and with Lamar have really been, unprecedentedly great. I think the number's probably about 5 if I had to guess. So Ravens in the first half might be a safer play, not a safe play for the contest. I will tell you, normally I can make a list of like 5 or 6 games I feel good about that we're going to put in the contest. I could not do that with this. Like I had 2 games. I'm like, yes, I feel great. By this morning, I maybe had 3, but I didn't feel great about a lot of games. One of the games, I definitely started coming around to New England plus 3.5 at Tennessee. The trends back taking the Pats.
Do they?
Teams off a blowout loss who are then favored at home only cover 42% of the time the following week the past 20 years.
Interesting.
Money and tickets both on the Pats, and this number hasn't budged. That worries me a little bit. Are we getting Will Levis at QB? Seems likely. Are we getting Jacoby Brissett? Seems likely. But then there's this, and we've talked about this. The Titans stink. They're tanking. They've traded away every player of value. This week it was Deontay Johnson. I'm thinking about the Panthers. But the Titans stink. They've traded away their best players. The Titans just played the Lions. Teams coming off a game against the Lions tend to crater the next game because it is such a physical game. We just saw it with the Vikings too. That is a hard road to travel and then be a home favorite of more than a field goal. That feels like an opportunity for us.
Yeah, we talked on Tuesday. This is a bizarre line. We knew it was going to be the public dog of the week because everyone's, they're like us. They're looking at this saying, what in the world? What is this number? Why is it not just 2.5 or 3? You're going to give us the hook. If it's a trap, me and Chad will walk into it holding hands. I mean, what else can we do here? This is too good of a number. This Tennessee team is terrible. How can you not bet on the Patriots to win this game outright as well? It's just everything lines up where say what you want about this Patriots team and how bad they are. We know it. We know how bad Brissett is. We know how bad the receivers are. I think they're leading the league in drops. They had, before Drake May came in, they basically were at the 32nd in the league in passes 20 yards downfield. It's bad with Brissett. I get it. But it's not as bad as everything that we just talked about Tennessee, especially if it's Will Levis. This guy just makes so many dumb mistakes. And now He knows. I mean, how can you find a more desperate quarterback in this league if he starts this game, right? Like he knows that he might only have 1 or 2 games left in his career. So I'm with you on it. Like I'm with you about the hesitation though. Like we don't like that this number hasn't budged. The books seem like they're setting something up here, but we could say that for every week this year for the most part with this Tennessee team. We already talked about. There's been a bunch of games they were favorite at home against different teams, or the number didn't look right to me and you, and we avoided it. And that was a bad miss by us. We shouldn't have been avoiding betting against this Tennessee team. They've just been terrible all season. So I'm going to do my best not to let us get scared off by this on Sunday if we still are getting 3.5.
I think it's their defense. I think people are looking at their defense, which has performed well, top 10 in many metrics. And I think it's sort of everyone keeps thinking, okay, their defense can do enough to stop an opposing offense. Even if you look at last week, right? They played the Lions, 52 points scored, but that's because of turnovers and special teams. Jared Goff had 85 yards passing. Like the Titans had more offensive production than the Lions did. So I think they just keep thinking, okay, every week this team will be able to prove that they can stop somebody, but they don't play complementary football. So every good play that the Titans make, every good series that the Titans have on defense gets given back and more in a net negative effect.
Yeah.
With what the offense does. And so, or special teams now. So I get it. It's a tough one. Like I have it on my list of like final 5.
Me too.
But I don't love it. And it makes me a little queasy. It does feel a little trappy. But right now it's there. It's not, excuse me, it's not Foxhole. It's not our big balls bet of the week. Because our big balls bet of the week presented by Tommy John. If you got the balls, Tommy John has the support. Great games start with great underwear. Tommy John makes the greatest. Our big balls bet of the week. New Orleans at Carolina. This one is up to 7.5, Simon. It was at 7, and I think it's trending to 8. It was at 7 when we spoke on Tuesday. We liked it then. The Saints minus 7.5. Look, it's oddly a pros Joe's game with the public on the Panthers and the money on the Saints. And like the money that has moved it to 7.5. I can't believe there are enough tickets on this game to have any kind of credible formula at all. It is by far the least bet game of any NFL game, according to the number of tickets tracked in the Action Network app. I can't believe the majority of tickets are on the Panthers, but here we are. We live in a world in which we have to choose between the Saints and the Panthers. We've decided to cast our lot with the Saints as more than touchdown favorites with a on the road in the division, all bad trends for us.
Yep.
A quarterback in Derek Carr, who is not just one of the worst in the NFL as a favorite. He is one step up from last as a favorite against the spread in the past 20 years. He's got a coach who is amongst the worst 10 coaches against the spread in the past 20 years. But we're doing it. And I feel fine.
Yeah, you left out the best part. The Saints have lost 6 games in a row since starting 2-0. I mean, we're seeing historical stuff here. So
you know what?
Yeah.
You're right. This we slacked about it earlier, and like I was giving you a couple options like for big balls, and this was on the list, and you chose this one, and I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. This one takes balls.
We're finally doing it, though. I'm so happy on this show. We're finally fading this Carolina team for our fans, for our listeners.
You know, we're fucked.
That's what I was about to say. This is only going to end in one way, and it's going to be us losing this as one of our 5. But we have to do it. Carolina is so bad. They've totally punted on the season. On the Saints, on their hand, this feels like their everything game, right? This is where they can maybe turn around the season. They need this win desperately. They know if you lose this and you're 2-7, you are done. But if you can get to 3-6, there's an outside chance, obviously, they can somehow get to a wild card, especially if they're getting healthy at the right time. So the biggest thing to us was just if it was Derek Carr, I was going to be on this number just because he is the difference maker to that team. We've seen it offensively. They run differently when he's back there, right? They can run what they want to do, which is run the ball with play action. Like that's what really made them so great those first 2 weeks. here comes a Carolina team that struggles against a lot of what the Saints want to do offensively. So I'm not going to let this huge number scare me off. It's this Panther team is that bad that this should be that high, even though it is the Saints team. And about time, Chad. About time we faded a team that is 1-8 or 1-7 against the spread this season. So better late than never is what I always say. So I'm happy we're finally getting on this fade the Carolina Panthers train.
I feel like this is historic for us. I don't know in the history of us being brothers in arms, we've ever faded a team in this spot. We've decided we wouldn't touch it because we didn't want to tempt the betting gods and do something that is so chalky but it's not this week, but in sort of historical terms, we don't want to bet against this trend of a home dog. We don't want to bet against this trend of the home dog in the division. It's one of those times we're just looking at the matchup. We're seeing Derek Carr, who's healthy and above, an above average quarterback when he's healthy, playing against a defense that cannot get pressure, cannot cover, gets blown out by everybody. We're believing our eyes. We got a quarterback who really is as bad as we think he is. This is the spot. Big balls bet of the week. New Orleans Saints. Our sponsor, Tommy John, makes a bet like this comfortable because it's the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn. Totally changed my life, changed my perspective on what underwear should be, and also shirts, sweatpants, and pajamas. When you're truly comfortable, you can bet better. If you love Simon and I, if you love this show, you love Tommy John, get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/favorites. Save 25% at TommyJohn.com/favorites. This next game, this is a litmus test game to me. I've changed my mind on this game. Dallas at Atlanta. Atlanta's a 2.5-point favorite. I've changed my mind as often as Jerry Jones threatens reporters in the past 48 hours. Betting Atlanta feels like a trap. Feels like when I walked into the Cincinnati Bear trap last week and you tried to talk me out of it. You called me a fool. I didn't do it. And I got screwed. All of Atlanta's offense has come by playing the Bucs twice and the Panthers. Kirk Cousins, literally 8 touchdowns, 1,000 yards against the Panthers and the Bucs. Like, against any defense with a decent pass rush and people who can cover, they're a mediocre team. So the question becomes, do the Cowboys have a decent pass rush? Probably not. Micah Parsons still is not practiced. By the sounds of it from Mike McCarthy, he wasn't close to getting back on the field. Cornerback Deron Bland was expected to practice today. It's Thursday. We don't know what's happened yet. Maybe the Cowboys would be better in coverage. Are they a team that has shown they have the ability to respond to adversity? Not really. This is a split across the board. You know, we didn't talk about it in sharp calls. Like, I wanted to bet the Cowboys on Tuesday. You kind of talked me out of it. If this game gets to 3, I'd probably want to bet the Cowboys. I don't feel good enough to put it in the contest for sure.
No, I like Atlanta. I think the Cowboys are just a bad team. Last week we took them because we thought they had major injuries to the 49ers, and we should have adjusted, right? When Kittle and Debo came back, that should have been our mark to move off it. We didn't take it serious, and then what happened? Kittle had like the game of his life, right? He dominated that game, and he kind of flipped it. They lose by 6. We faded this team against Pittsburgh. Once again, I'd make that bet 10 out of 10 times, especially this Pittsburgh team we've seen this year. We just got unlucky, right? Dak drove the field on a 4th down, completed this insane pass to his 3rd receiver to beat us. Then they beat the Giants, and a kind of another fluky win, and then they opened the season by beating Cleveland. So they have 3 wins this season, easily could have 1, maybe 2 wins. The Cowboys are just a bad team. They are so bad. That's why I can't imagine putting money on them right now. That they got to be feeling it in the locker room, and there's no adjustments to make. They can't stop the run, and they can't run the football. There's nothing they can do, Chad. They're dead in the water. There is no adjustments to be made. They don't have the players. It's just we knew coming into the season it was going to be bad for them. I didn't know it was going to be this bad for this Cowboys team. It's just It's terrible. So could they steal this game, Chad? Yeah, I think you nailed it. Like whoever has the ball last. I talked about this on Tuesday. That's why I wouldn't bet it either. It's like I did bet Atlanta, I should say, but I wouldn't make this one over 5 because it's whoever has the ball last. I could see them winning this game, right? It's Cowboys, Dak. He's that good of a quarterback. Him and CeeDee, that connection. They could drive the field. I mean, we had an opportunity against the 49ers. They could have drove the field and got us that upset win. I feel like that's what we're going to have every week with this Cowboys team when they play mediocre teams, right? And that's what this Atlanta team is. We don't think they're that great of a team. That's why we're both hesitant to take it. But yeah, there's threes out there if you do want the Cowboys, Chad. I am on Atlanta, but it's one of my smaller bets. I'm having a tough time with this one, just as you, just because we don't really trust either of these teams right now for a bunch of different reasons. So I'm with you. I'm happy to pass on this one for the contest.
You mentioned Dak and CeeDee, like they're not even connecting emotionally. You know what I mean? Like it feels like there's something missing in what is supposed to be a simpatico relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. And I know it can be tempestuous at times, but like they got to be on the same page and they don't seem to be. And I do think Dak, we talked about this on Convince Me. Kerner talked about it, referring to Dak as mall Santa and giving out under his rushing props. He had -1 rushing yard. He looks not just immobile, but statuesque back there. You could see it a few times. I think at one point, Collinsworth, when he was rolling out, Chris Collinsworth said, he just looks like he doesn't have it. Something weird is going on there. And now they've given these guys, hundreds of millions of dollars.
I'll say this though. I mean, they clearly it's just tough. It's football, obviously, and everyone knows the ball is going. But last week, CeeDee had 13 catches on 17 targets for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the week before that, he had 14 targets, but he only had 7 catches. So clearly Dak knows the deal, though. Dak is just force-feeding this guy because of what we just talked about. Like, he has no other real options. So I agree with you. It hasn't worked out, but it's just – this is life when you just have 2 players and nothing else, right? Like, there's just only so much these 2 guys can do. And you're right. They're both kind of cratering to the pressure, I guess.
Miami at Buffalo -6. This was my exact decision.
Yeah.
Loved it on Sunday night when it was at 6. It was bet up to 6.5. It's come down the half point. That worries me. You mentioned on Sharp Calls, there's some love for Miami.
Yeah.
I like Josh Allen defies the trends. In the NFL, historically, betting against the spread, you want to bet on the underdog in the division. That's not what you do with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is over 500. He is an ROI positive bet against the spread as a favorite in the division. And then the Tua trends, to me, outweigh what people might be believing in sort of the development of the Dolphins. Tua is 2-10 straight up, 3-8-1 against the spread, away from home versus winning teams in his NFL career. And to me, it really becomes like Finn's offense versus Bill's defense. Given Tua has been out, you can't really sort of vest any confidence in those. But the Bills' rush offense has been top 3 in the league across the majority of metrics, superficial, advanced, whatever. And the Finn's tackling is amongst the league's worst. So trend-wise, matchup-wise, I could see the Bills. This is a place they tend to dominate. I'm still not worried about it.
Nope. This is one of my bigger bets of the week. Tons of money on this Bills team. I hope professionals keep betting this. I mean, give me a 5.5. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. Usually I don't love these spots, but Josh Allen's different. Him in this matchup is different as well, right? We talked about Tua on the road. Now it's Tua on the road against a team above 500, which he struggles against in his career. It doesn't matter if it was his best season of his career or his worst season of his career. He always struggles in this exact spot. So, maybe they'll get lucky, Chad, but we know long-term this is a winning bet. So this is a bet that we're going to make this year. We'll make next year as long as we can until Miami changes who they are, until Josh Allen falls off a cliff, and he's nowhere near that cliff right now. Like, this is arguably the best we've ever had, Josh Allen, especially in betting-wise. Like, he is just so locked in. Even, we knew his pick was coming last week. He was so due. He's had incredible luck this season. That doesn't worry me at all. He could overcome 2 turnovers in this matchup just because I think we're going to get opportunities with Tua. He just does not look comfortable. He's still doing the 1-2 Mississippi in his head and then getting rid of the ball because he just
Yeah.
is so terrified to take a hit right now. So I love it. We got a Bills team that's playing free. Josh Allen is really embracing the whole thing of there is no superstar in this team. I can get the ball to whoever I want, and at the end of the day, no one's going to be bitching at me. And it's just he looks like a completely different guy. Like a weight is truly off his shoulders. So yeah, Bills at home, 6 points or maybe even 5.5 for our contest, Chad. I love this to be one of our 5.
Josh Allen right now, odds-on favorite to win MVP in the NFL.
That's fair.
Who knows? Like the way this team is playing, I'm still banking on Jared Goff, but could end up being Josh Allen.
Yeah,
The
I would say
interesting,
Chad knows, but don't get mad at Chad. Chad knows if we flipped Jared Goff and Josh Allen, we know who the better quarterback is. It's just, MVP, like we always say, it's really about that 1 seed. So I still think there is value on your Goff bet because he could easily be the 1 seed. And it's as good as the Bills have been. It is tough to get that 1 seed, but they do have the division to do it in. So that to me is the biggest thing. Who's going to win this MVP is going to be who's going to be that 1 seed, Chad.
well, honestly, that's why I made the bet, Simon. Like I just looked at, you know, gaming it out. We know it's a quarterback award.
Yeah,
We know it usually goes to the quarterback whose team played the best over the course of the season in a mostly dominant way. They'll lose 2 games at the most, maybe 3. And the Bills had already lost a couple games. And the
right.
Bills have to overtake the Chiefs, who are undefeated. So to me, this just felt like, if I'm handicapping, which is what this is, I was handicapping that over the course of the season, the Lions would have a better chance to win their conference than and have a better record with Jared Goff. And there'd be sentiment like he'd have a great year. He's overcome so much. There'd just be people who want to back him. Sometimes this is about a story. Um, Los Angeles Chargers now -1.5 at Cleveland. You brought it up on Sharp Calls.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I've dug so deep in this one. And this is when betting gets fun. Because I do feel like people are not giving enough credit to the Chargers, or they are giving Jameis and the Browns too much credit. They are literally banking on Jameis and this offense being so much better than it was with Deshaun, and everyone getting healthier on offense and defense. So they are reevaluating and re-rating the Browns. But I do look at the Chargers D as a comp to the Ravens, who the Browns just beat miraculously, right? The Chargers are much better in coverage, much better in passing EPA, expected points allowed, equal in sack rate, better against the run in the box with 6 or fewer defenders. They've actually started passing the ball more the past couple of weeks, which means they are putting the ball in their best players' hands, Justin Herbert, who is not a turnover machine the way Jameis is. I don't know that there's a real edge here. It's about what we think we are seeing, and we're either jumping off the wave of the Browns or we're going to keep riding it with Jameis. And like, are we taking a stand here that we just don't believe Jameis won't throw the ball into coverage and turn the ball over the way he should have against the Ravens if anyone in their defensive backfield could catch the ball?
Yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm gonna ride it, and I'm gonna do the coward move though. Like I probably won't put this in our contest because I'm just gonna throw this in a teaser. Give me up to 7.5 with this Cleveland team because you said a lot of nice things about the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are a good team. I think they've just benefited from having a really easy schedule, and this is what this team does. Right? We talked to Harbaugh identity. They don't beat themselves. They let these other teams make the mistakes. And even watching that Saints game, like, I don't know if it was the first quarter or maybe into the second quarter, it was like, how is this Saints team even keeping this close? They have a rotating door of rookie QBs right now at quarterback, and Herbert was keeping them in it. And then eventually, like we talked about, Herbert realized, oh, I'm a top 5 quarterback in this league. I can make these throws. I just need to trust my guy. And he made big time throws in that game. So I get why you want to take the Chargers. They're probably the more complete team, but I can't quit this Browns team, especially knowing how desperate they are. Just the whole mood and momentum has shifted in this locker room now that it is Jameis. That's why I'm, like Chad talked about, I'm taking the teaser, though, just because of Jameis. Like, I just can't get it over the Kyle Hamilton drop. Like that's what we're gonna get from Jameis in this game. So that's why I don't want to make this one of our 5. But for the people out there, I am gonna make this a teaser bet with this team. You can pair it with the Eagles, you can pair it with the Bengals, whoever you want to throw it in the other side. But I just look at this as a nice leg to it, getting them up to 7.5, just because we've seen this Chargers team, right? They like to keep these games close, especially against teams that are kind of the same level as they are. And this Browns defense at home, I know they're not the same as they were last year. They're still pretty damn good overall, and they could still get after the quarterback. And I think that to me is where I'm flipped a little bit. So yeah, I guess we disagree on this one, brother.
Dude, it's so hard. Like, it feels trappy to bet the Chargers as the road favorite. You're going against what the sharps are saying. We've seen the number come down
Yeah, it
quite
was
a bit.
3.5. Now it's down to 1.5.
Yeah, and so I don't know if it keeps going down. At some point, we might have to bet the Chargers as an underdog, and I don't know. I don't mind doing that. It just something here feels off. Like Jameis is not a good bet. He's just not.
How dare you?
It's just like people are.
He's
high
not a
on
good
the
bet as a
hog here.
favorite, right, Evan? He's good as an underdog, not as a favorite.
Just feels like we're missing an opportunity here. We don't have a foxhole yet. We don't have a foxhole. I'm telling you right now, Washington and New York Giants. I'm glad the wise guys sort of walk you off from this because it was silliness. Like, I know you want to back the Giants. I was against it on Tuesday. I think they are a dreadful team. They are a dreadful team at home. They now lost Andrew Thomas, who was the only reason to even give any hope to this team. Tyrone Tracy, who's been their best offensive weapon, he's probably not playing because of concussion. Daniel Jones can't throw a touchdown at MetLife. There's severe turmoil in that locker room with Daniel Jones taking the heat for going after players and Dayball not defending him. It's got the New York Post in a goddamn tizzy. Like, I don't think there's any. The wise guys are right here. You take Washington, or you don't take anybody.
I guess I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for pain. They can't tuck me off it. I'm dug in on the Giants, but this is the game I have not made a single bet on because of what Chad just talked about. Like, I don't know what the injuries are right now. This number is only going to go up. Like, it's 3.5 at a couple books. I'm seeing 4 now at a couple books pop up as well. So it's like, okay, when does it eventually get up to 4.5? Like, that's when I'll come in on the other side. But everything you said is right. This team is terrible right now. They're dysfunctional and they're just brutal at home. Like, Daniel Jones at home, I don't know what it is, but he is horrible playing against teams at home. And, like you said, there's just nothing to want to build off of that. Like, even last week at Pittsburgh game, it was right there for them to get the cover and everything like that, and they just don't do it. They've been that way this whole season. They've just disappointed in so many different ways. So
Pittsburgh, the Bengals, like,
yeah,
it's such a shame. They're wasting a great year from their defense. And there were pretty low expectations for their defense before the season began. And I feel like their defense has really been incredible. Great defensive line. They've been really good in coverage, much better than expected. It's a shame they can't figure it out.
and like, I hate your Chargers bet. I'd rather sweat the Chargers than sweat the Giants, which I think at the end
Yeah.
of the day is what I'm getting to with our contest, which is like, am I going to be able to sleep at night knowing I gave out the Giants in our contest to our lovely fans? I wouldn't, because I just would feel terrible because they are
Especially
so
now when we're
bad.
giving out the Saints as 7.5 point favorites on the
Right.
road.
I mean, we love chalk this week. I'll be honest. So, yeah, I'm cool with not taking this one in there just because I'm gonna force in that Packers bet, which is not the same, obviously, in any way. But it's like, okay, at least you're giving me a ugly home divisional dog that I love, and
Oh,
doesn't need to be
brother.
this one. I'm easily can be the Green Bay instead.
We're going to get to Green Bay in a second, and we still owe people a foxhole, and we're kind of running out of room here. We'll quickly go over the Bears. Like, I would still back the Bears,
Yeah,
kind of.
you're a sucker though. You were sucked in on that on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, but I've changed my tune a little bit. Like,
Yeah, stay
you were
away.
with me. You recognize as dogs are the right side, but you couldn't get yourself
No,
there
they were favored at the
because
time, and I said I would just stay away from it. And then they flipped to
right.
be a dog.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you the out. You didn't want to bet them because of
I
the
don't.
fallout, which I get,
Please don't make me bet this team.
and it has not been pretty. Braxton Jones, their left tackle, like Caleb Williams was running for his life after he left the game. he is probably out. He did not practice on Wednesday.
Jeez.
His backup, who was so bad, Caleb Williams, basically couldn't get a pass off. Um, he is likely out. So they are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Montez Sweat did not practice on Wednesday either. I think he'll play, but they're also missing multiple defensive backs. The Cards defense is truly terrible. But what's interesting to me is the Bears' strength at full force is their ability to rush the passer and pass coverage. The Cards' strength offensively is Kyler in pure chaos.
Yeah.
So the worse it is for him when the defense is good and getting to him, the better he plays. All that makes me not want to bet the Bears anymore. Also, I agree with you. Like reading it this week, obsessing about it, like there is a lot of disappointment in the Bears locker room
Yeah.
in how Eberflus not only handled the Hail Mary strategically, the lack of coaching that happened in the moment, and how he responded to reporters after the game, where I think a lot of folks felt like he threw the players under the bus and said, we know they know what to do. They didn't do it. Like you box out, you mark a man. I think that was not taken kindly. And the fact that they gave the ball to a backup center at the goal line instead of just, running it as they should with 2 minutes left and fumbled it away and put them all under a much different kind of strain. So to me, we're walking away from this game. I will not invest.
Based off what you said too, like I already like the under in this matchup. It makes me like it even more now because you just said it. How are the Bears going to move the ball offensively? And we've seen them struggle this year, Caleb especially on the road this season. He's just been different. His home and away splits are very, very different. So that jumps out to me on the flip side too. I still think even with your guys' injuries, you're a really good secondary. So I think Kyler, as good as he is in scramble mode, they're not going to make it easy for him. I don't think they're going to have that many big plays. So, yeah, if you don't want to take a side in this one, I do like the under here at 44.5.
There will not be a side in this one. We haven't done Foxhole yet, and I don't know that
I got one coming up if you want to talk about it.
All right, I do want to talk about it because in my list, I don't know that any of these would be it. We like the Rams at 1.5
That's
point. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, you are going hardcore on this team because we liked them at 1.5
Well, just because the
underdog.
professionals are on the other side, so I like that. I like that we're going against the pros here in this one.
So we liked it at 1.5 on Sunday night. Rams as underdogs. It's flipped. We don't love betting on the team that it flipped towards. So now the Rams are the favorite. That is a bad spot historically.
True.
Like the Seahawks have played terrible against the run this season, but like top 10 in total yards allowed, top 10 in yards per carry allowed, top 10 in EPA against the run. Everybody, like we know Sean McVay is a run first coach, and Kyron Williams has been carrying the ball as a top 5 running back in the NFL. The question is, man, the road dog in this spot, 54% against the spread the past 5 seasons. That's great. Since we've already bet the Rams at plus 1.5, the home dog, 51%. So not like advantageous for Seattle in this spot. But I don't love like that we're betting against the flip. And that like maybe I should discount that. But dude, like I haven't heard one person say they like the Rams as favorites in this game. Like that is, if we're doing that, that is legit foxhole.
It is. And I think Evan had a great piece in his article about it. It's McVay off extended rest. He's actually not been that good in his career. And same goes for Stafford. So I get the hesitation, right? This is, to me, even though we have a couple really public bets this week, this is the most public bet. Like the Seattle couldn't be any lower right now. They are just a bad team. And that's my biggest thing here, Chad, is they're a bad team. They're bad against good teams. And, Geno Smith in his career, he's only 3-9 against the spread at home in Seattle. Like he's not performed well at all in Seattle. And people think it's different because my whole life, my whole betting life, Seattle at home, especially with Russell Wilson, no brainer, easy bet, especially if they were an underdog. It's not been the same with Geno, and they're just that whole Pete Carroll identity is totally gone now. So I think the people need to adjust, the books need to adjust. This line, if it was 2, Chad, I probably would stay away from because you know how I obsess with that key number. I think the value shifted back now to this Rams team, and I know we both got it +1.5. I got pennies down on that. Like my real big money bets that I bet on this Rams team have all come at -1, -1.5. So yeah, I just think the books haven't adjusted to Puka and Cooper Kupp being back and how that's going to boost this run game in so many different ways. I mean, you saw last week, Puka blocking, he is so good because he's huge. I mean, this is a huge receiver on the outside who just can bully these small corners. So I just think both those guys add so much to the passing game and the rushing game. But yeah, this is definitely an island game for us where this is us and the public. Like the professionals are on the other side. So to me, this is why I like making this one of our foxhole bets because it really is us jumping in against these pros here.
You know what? I'm glad to hear you say this because I haven't seen anything to make me not like the Rams other than the trends. I actually
Yeah.
really like their young defense. I love the Rams as an organization. I think they draft well. I think McVay's a great coach. I think Les Snead has done an incredible job bringing talent and getting rid of guys at peak, like the old Cowboys used to do. And I, I I'm not afraid of it. We're in the foxhole. We're on the Rams. We are against everybody on this. We are truly in a foxhole on this one. This is a huge, huge, wise, excuse me, it's just choking me up. Huge, huge, wise guy play. All right. We're in the foxhole. LA Rams -1.5.
Let's do
I
it.
don't want this to make us beholden to put in the contest. That makes me a little nervous, but we're in the foxhole.
Okay.
Well,
No, I have other favorites I like more. I
well,
really love this Rams team, and this to me is such a good spot. We're still, I feel like, getting good value on them just because the books haven't adjusted to what they are now, which is a healthier team.
Detroit at Green Bay 3.5. This was Simon Says. I will say this is the game I've bet the most on this week, and I've enjoyed getting the money down at 3.5. It's been getting closer and closer to 3. Nothing I've seen changes my mind from putting this in the contest. Total Pro Joe split. The Packers pass blocking is elite this season. So how will the Lions get any pressure? I think that's still a real hole for them without Aiden Hutchinson. Weather could be a factor. Wind is in the 10 to 15 mile per hour range.
Jared Goff has a bad ankle.
Potentially rain. We're going to get to Goff. Matt LaFleur, 24-11 as a dog, 69% in his career. We're selling peak Lions. I don't mind getting off the Lions. They've been so good to us. Like Jared Goff outside in weather. He's generationally great inside. Outside, not so much. And so this is the time. You got to go all in on the Packers here.
Yeah, and just you could say what you want, right, with Jordan Love being banged up, but I just talked about it. Goff is banged up as well. He didn't practice yesterday. He's got a bad ankle. And, this is the type of matchup where, yes, is it scary betting against this Detroit team for me and Chad? Of course. We've just seen them just dominate everyone they've faced. But we talk all the time, divisional games are different, and that's when you really have to just trust the number. And, I remember, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, they tried scaring off. We thought the Detroit number was way too easy against that Vikings team. What was it, 2.5 down to 1.5?
Yeah.
Line didn't make sense. All of a sudden, it came down to, Minnesota had the ball. They were about to go up 3 with an extra going for 2. And at one point, it was landing right on 1. And it was like, okay, either we're going to get lucky with the cover here or we're going to get this outright win by this Lions team. And it feels the same way here with Green Bay, where we're getting a great number with the hook on the 3.5. And we both believe Green Bay can easily win this game. Like, they are a good team. They're so well coached. This field's going to be extra wet. They're going to water this field right before tip-off. And I just love this Green Bay team with this matchup. It was just like last week. Like, I played the number against Green Bay because I thought they were in a look-ahead spot, that they were going to kind of play down to their competition. They know this is basically for their season. The same thing as we backed the Colts last week against Houston. Like, you get these divisional teams in these kind of matchups where you put the human element to it of these guys know. Like, they know they need this for the division. There is an extra oomph to that, the extra effort, an extra motivation in these type of spots. So, I'd grab, like I said on Tuesday, I'd grab it now, people. I do think once everything is clear with Jordan Love, this does go down to 3 and it stays
Oh
there
yeah.
by kickoff. It just feels like the professional side where the public is going to come in so heavy on this Detroit team where they don't realize this is where you want to hop off for this week. So I don't say this. I'm not saying this is a scheduled loss, but there are kind of games like that, right? We always talk about teams aren't going to just lose 1 or 2 games the entire season. Those are really rare outliers. Those teams are, either been extremely lucky or like the, 19-0 Patriots team that's just the most dominant team we've ever seen put it together. So respect to Detroit. We think they're a great team, but this is such a spot for this Green Bay team.
Yeah, this is one of the games when I bet Jared Goff to be MVP. I expected him to lose.
Right.
He's banged up. It's outside. It's just sort of, he won't play another game outside the rest of the year unless
No, he
you
plays
count the
Bears.
Cowboys. You know?
Well, no, he's going to Soldier Field.
Oh, he's got to go to Soldier Field. Other than
Yeah.
that, like outside against the Cowboys, if the roof is open, but doesn't really count. All right. Last game to discuss. Indy 5.5 at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco is starting now.
Joe Flacco.
It's been really interesting. Like since this was announced 48 hours ago, the analysis about Anthony Richardson across the punditry, social media, column inches spilled on internet machines. It's been fascinating. Like so many people sort of decrying the idea that completion percentage is how you should be judging Anthony Richardson, and then looking deeper and looking at the choices he makes when he doesn't complete a pass and the leverage position that he is putting his team in positively and the net ROI if he completes a downfield pass, and really great and interesting analysis that makes completion percentage not a great way to measure his development because it's terrible. Like the past 25 years, I think Akili Smith is the only guy with a worse completion percentage. But Joe Flacco, despite like the brilliance we think he brings, and he's not exactly, as he likes to say, elite.
No.
So are the Colts better off short and long term? As an unabashed Richardson backer, where do you stand on this?
I hate it. Like, this is why I always say these teams, you can just be so screwed if you have the wrong owner. And this to me is an owner move. And we talk all the time in life, you never want to make a decision out of anger. And this was to me a decision made out of anger. Because if it was logic, the logical move would have been do this a week ago against Houston. Like that would have made more sense. Okay, the coaches make this change here because they want to see if they can beat Houston here and steal this division. They didn't. And, when they interviewed Shane Steichen, it seemed like even he was kind of alluding to, yeah, this ain't me. This is the owner making this decision here. So I feel bad for Colts fans. Like Joe Flacco is not, they know this. He's not getting the promised land. Is he really going to beat Mahomes in the playoffs? Is he really going to beat Lamar or Josh Allen in the playoffs? No, he lost to CJ as a rookie last year in Houston. So I don't get it. Like to me, you just needed Anthony Richardson to get the reps. Like, in a sick world, Daniel Jones over here gets 71 starts in the NFL. This kid only gets 9 or 10. And it's just, I hate that kind of stuff. Like this kid has so much potential. We all knew it was going to be rough, right? We knew coming out of college, this kid was just raw talent and he had a great deep ball, but he couldn't complete a 10-yard pass. It's continued. And I get why they're pissed off about it, especially ownership, but it's like, that's why you have him take the reps. Like he needs these reps to kind of figure that stuff out and then work on that stuff in the offseason. So bizarre move, but for our job's sake, like I wanted to be on the Vikings because I thought Flores would have a huge mismatch against Anthony Richardson. That's out the window now. Flacco done seen it all. So yeah, the value to me shifts to this Colts team. And the number to me hasn't moved enough. It's gone down from 6 to 5 now.
Yeah.
I got this number at 4. So right now I have a point of value on the Colts. So I would take this on the Colts, but I don't know what to do with it. Like I can't imagine what the vibes are like in the locker room after this type of move, where even the quarterback said, he didn't really have much to say about it from this coach. And, Pittman, the wide receiver, saying he found out via social media. Like it just seems very dysfunctional with this Colts team. So I'm happy to avoid this one, especially for our contest. But man, just a strange move for this Colts team. I don't get what the end goal is. It's to get a wild card and that's that. Like, no, you want to be setting yourself up for 5-10 years down the road, not this type of situation. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
felt
I feel bad for the Colts.
I do too, and I love Shane Steichen. I think he's great,
Yeah.
and I think he would have done wonders to continue to develop Anthony Richardson. Maybe that happens. I don't understand the move. Um, agree with you. Like, I actually didn't rush to bet the Colts when the move was announced, even though the number ticked down from 6 to 5.5 immediately. I do think that's where the value is, but I still think there's something intangible that can't be addressed here that makes me nervous about betting the Colts, especially against a Vikings team that knows it can't lose three in a row. It needs a big game. So I agree with
But bet
you.
the Colts live then. Like we talked about the script
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
Vikings has been incredible this season. If they're up 10-0, go bet the Colts
Go bet
live.
the
But yeah,
Colts.
yeah,
Because you get the Vikings in the second half, they're a different team.
different
You
team.
get Sam Darnold unscripted, different conversation.
Yep.
Boosted underdog moneyline parlay time. Each week, we give out a two-team moneyline underdog parlay. Bet365 boosts the odds and highlights it on their site all weekend under both team game pages. And remember, both games are eligible for Bet365's early payout promo, where your moneyline pick gets marked as a win if they take a 17-point lead, even if they lose. If you want to bet this, bet it at Bet365. This week's boosted parlay is the New England Patriots and, no surprise, Green Bay Packers. Find the boost under either Patriots or Packers game pages on Bet365. Simon, our moneyline underdog round robin. I think we'll have the Pats in there.
Correct.
I think we'll have the Packers in there.
Yep.
Um, who else did I want to put in there?
I'm
Seahawks.
tempted by it. I know you say you can't see the Vikings losing 3 in a row, but crazier things have happened, right? And you're getting plus 185 right now on the Colts. I feel like that's pretty good value.
I don't mind that. I don't mind the Colts, the Packers, the Pats. I think we had in there the Browns.
Browns are plus 100, so yeah, technically we can get them in there. I don't mind that.
Browns, and then we need one more.
I mean, I hate them. I know I just shit on them, and I'm on Atlanta, but don't we have to do the Cowboys? Like that's a coin flip game. Those are the type of underdogs we take.
Yeah. To me, it was actually Cowboys or Seattle.
That's fair.
But I don't want to jinx our
No, don't do it. I got way
opportunity
too much
here.
on the Rams.
I
Don't
don't
do
want
it
to
to me,
bring a
Chad.
grenade into our own foxhole.
Don't do it to me.
So underdog money line round robin parlay: Colts, Packers, Pats, Browns, Cowboys. Give me your biggest bets right now.
Definitely Green Bay, Rams, Bills, those three off the top, and then secondary I'll probably go Saints, Patriots, and then I know it's sickening, but I'm gonna end up on the Giants pretty heavy. So for my three biggest ones, definitely Packers, Rams, and the Bills. I know a little chalky this week, people, but that's just how it is.
I really can't believe you're going to be that aggressive on the Giants.
I know I'm a sicko. It's just at what point does this number move too much? That's the issue with this number here. I think it should be 3. It's all up to 4 now, Chad. This is the life of a sad man.
Give me your Scooch Roulette.
Scooch Roulette, 6-2 in the season, people. We stay hot. I want to steal Chad's pick of Green Bay so bad because I know that's probably what he wants to do. But I'm going to give my guy a layup. I'll let him take Green Bay. I'll take the Buffalo Bills -6.
Oh my God, you are a gift because I actually wanted to choose. I was going to do Green Bay or Buffalo, and I knew you were going to do one or the other.
Yeah.
So I was ready for both. I would have taken both, but you know what?
Green Bay is a great one.
You're a gift. You give every day to me. All right, it's time to bring in our director of research, Evan Abrams.
Let's get smarter.
Final word. Let's get a little bit smarter, Evan. Make us feel good. Also, give us those Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson first half stats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as the tone of reality of this show, let me clean up 2 things and then let me go into exactly what we're talking about here. You guys were talking about Richardson. So I just quickly looked this up. So Richardson has 23 starts combined, college and pros. Stroud already has 25 in the pros. So if you want to make a comparison there, Richardson just needs more time, but also he threw 24 touchdown passes in his college career. That was the fewest by any first round quarterback since 2001. His completion percentage of 54% was the lowest by a first-round quarterback since Jake Locker in 2011. Let's all just not assume this wasn't a shock. We kind of knew this walking in, so it is what it is. Let's move on there. Baltimore first half, to answer your question. So that is, first half is up to 6 for Baltimore now. 262 quarterbacks last 20 years. Number 1 in first half ATS is Lamar. Number 2, Flacco. So Harbaugh, that's doing great. He's 59% first half ATS, best of any head coach. So that's the stuff out of the way. Let me talk about a few picks you guys like here. So let's start with Buffalo. So when I'm doing a little bit of research, I wanted to try and pinpoint where Josh Allen might have the opportunity to blow out his opponents, since we talk about that stat of his wins and winning by a large margin. So who knows what we're going to actually be getting out of the Dolphins offense, because we've talked about this. 2 and not 2 of the numbers are just kind of jumbled. What we do know is more predictable is their defense. So they're allowing 123 yards per game on the ground, which is middle of the pack in the NFL. But when Josh Allen faces defenses allowing 120 plus, where Allen is favored, he is 28-3 straight up, winning by 14.8 points per game. He is 18-11-2 against the spread, covering by 7 points per game. So seems like,
you know what? I feel so good about that, because what is the stat that I pinpointed? I pinpointed the Dolphins rush defense, and like, I feel great now. I feel fucking great.
Well, check for Evan, number 1. All right, number 2, Packers. How can we not talk about this? I'm just going to give one clear system play that I think you almost just need to follow here. So teams covering 80% of their games, which is the Lions, who are a road favorite, 53, 89-3, 37% against the spread since 2010. And that moves to 32% ATS in division games. Just, it's a clear play on Green Bay, one way or the other. And then the thing that's kind of going around everywhere, LaFleur's great as a dog, but when he's getting 3 points or more, he is 18-4 against the spread.
No way.
20-2 when that throws into a 6-point teaser. So it's the right number. Go that direction. And then I'll end with one more, which is Tampa. So the odd thing with Tampa, kind of like with Miami, is the numbers don't matter as much anymore without Godwin and Evans. So if you like Tampa, there's really 3 options. A, their defense shows up and keeps it close. B, Baker balls out without Evans and Godwin, probably not the option. Or C, Baker finds the back door. So what I looked up with Mahomes, he is 28, 31-3 against the spread as a 6-point favorite. When his opponent is averaging 250 plus passing yards when he's a 6-point favorite, he's just 3, 8-1 against the spread. Now, in those 3 covers, he's won by 39, 18, and 35. So could he blow out Tampa and cover the game? Sure. Maybe an option you might want to look at. You like Tampa to cover? Cool. But if you take KC to win by 20 or 30, to win by 30 is 11-1. So maybe there's a few ways to play a little of both sides, but the numbers say take Tampa, especially if Baker can find his groove without his receivers.
Alt spread on the Kansas City Chiefs. That is nice. Evan, that is tasty. Well done. See, Simon, don't we feel better right now?
I do.
As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now, new Bet365 customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code Favorites, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Simon and I will return with our next episode of The Favorites on the Action Network YouTube page Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to recap NFL Week 9. Download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.